Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Saga Troy video. Surprise, surprise, today's going to be all about Troy. In this video, we're going to embark on our first mythic expedition where we're going to track down and defeat Cerberus in an effort to recruit him. Keep in mind that I am playing as Menelaus, but you can do this with any faction or any different hero. I'm just very used to playing as Menelaus, so let's not waste any more time and jump right in. Before your expedition is able to begin, you will notice some armies spawning around your faction capital. These normally have troops which are linked to the different types of expeditions. So you'll see one related to the Griffin, one related to the Hydra, and one related to Cerberus. These armies themselves will not move, and they're not tied to the expedition, but will give you a first look at what you're going to be fighting against when you eventually do take the expedition on. They will spawn very early into your campaign, and while you are at war with them, they will not be aggressive to you in any way, shape, or form, so it's up to you if you want to deal with them or not. Defeating these small armies will also allow you to recruit one unit tied to the specific mythical creature. This is so you can test it out and see if you actually like this type of unit before dedicating yourself to the expedition. Defeating the army related to Cerberus will give you access to a Spearmaster of Elysium unit. It's a ghostly unit, so here you can test out the shades relating to Hades and see if you actually like that type of playstyle or not. But now let's get into the actual expedition part. It's turn 17 and you'll notice that of course there's a new icon which will allow you to select the monster of your choosing. When this mechanic becomes available is fairly random as far as I've seen. It doesn't really have a set turn time, however it's normally very early into your campaign, so 17 turns or so as an average isn't really too bad as you're still getting your footing within Troy. As you're only able to do one full expedition throughout your campaign, the monster selection screen will allow you to compare each of the monsters, see what type of bonuses they'll give in, what type of units they'll provide and all that stuff, so you'll have all the information required as to which one you want to recruit for your specific campaign. I'm going with Cerberus this time because Cerberus is the one that interests me the most. From there you'll have access to an expedition screen, and this one is rather different. This is where the majority of your expedition focus is actually based around. Before anything, you don't have to launch your expedition right away. If you want to wait, it's perfectly fine, and sometimes depending on your difficulty and how your campaign is going, it's probably best that you actually do wait for a little while. To launch an expedition, you'll have to recruit a new army, but in a far different way to what you're normally used to. As you can see here, you can recruit one hero and 9 units, and this is done fairly instantly. With this, you'll have to mostly spend resources, so keep in mind that yes, it will become quite expensive, especially depending on your administration and so on, but you are good to go straight from the bat. Your units won't cost any upkeep, or as far as I've seen they don't cost any upkeep, but they will cost a one-off payment once you send them off, and it's advisable to vary your forces. For example, we're going after Cerberus here, who's got an army of ghosts. We want some skirmishing units, but we also want something that can hold the line. Of course, this is also very early into my campaign, so I don't actually have access to a lot of different units, just some basic ones that I have access to at the beginning of my campaign, so this might not be too easy for me. We'll have to wait for the expedition to actually get their job done. You will notice that there's obviously a quest battle here, which is that to actually fight the beast, but there's also 5 other markers, and that we're going to explain right now. So the expeditions themselves are tied to dilemmas, but it's not the same as we're used to in Warhammer or say Three Kingdoms. The dilemma system has been vastly changed up to bring in new life into the system and to make everything a bit more thematic, especially with a whole storyline focus. You'll notice here that we've got 4 different options as we find ourselves in a temple. Here we can either initiate our troops into these mysteries and learn about this actual temple and its standard. We can train with the warriors of this temple and possibly gain some experience. We can also make some sacrifices, or we could even recruit some troops from this area. Now this sounds pretty standard in terms of dilemmas and so on, but what this actually does is gives you a way to progress through the storyline, and you'll see it more as we start going further and further through the expedition, but everything that you do through these dilemmas will impact stuff in the future parts of the other dilemmas. For example, here I wanted to recruit from the actual troops here, which gave me 2 different spearmen units, which aren't too bad. It filled out the army a little bit better, and of course this means that I've got further units down the line for when I need them. There are loads of different options, and going back I could have actually gotten some other stuff too, depending on what I would have picked, but this seemed like the option for me at the moment. A few turns later and we can see another dilemma has now presented itself. There's usually 4 options, but as you can see one is actually greyed out. As I didn't initiate myself into the mysteries, that is now permanently locked. There's actually different ways to go about this in a very roleplay type of aspect, which I think is really interesting. Progressing through this means that there's different ways to actually go throughout the expedition and not have to go through any one specific line. Possibly one is better than the other, but this gives you an element of choice which is actually fairly new for Total War. So with this second dilemma, I've decided to stay out of sight and camp for the night in an effort to get some experience for my units and have them well rested. Some of your dilemma choices, like the one that I actually picked, can also provide permanent bonuses to your army whilst you're still in the expedition, which can be quite useful. Again, it very much depends, so you're going to have to think as to what exactly you want to actually pick. I can be perfectly honest, I could have actually sat down and save scummed this just to make sure that I could see everything, but this is just much more fun rather than going back and picking out the perfect meta. So it looks like I'm rather restricted in the third dilemma, as I didn't pick certain options, and that means that I've only got one choice to progress. This is a rather interesting system, as your choices affect your progression. It's fairly different to what we've normally seen in Total War, and it looks like the Sophia team are being able to experiment quite heavily. Nevertheless, we didn't really suffer from only having one choice. In fact, Wandering the Lake gave us a bit more experience, so our troops are a little bit stronger, being able to have another chevron. You will actually notice here that we've completed 3 different dilemmas, and so far we've actually gotten some more troops, and all our others have also been upgraded too because they've been able to gain some experience. It's actually not too bad. You'll notice that army strength is a bit lower than it was originally because we have missed out the chance of getting other troops too. This pretty much adds a level of replayability if you end up playing multiple campaigns of Troy and you wish to go for Cerberus a number of times, then this gives you the chance to be able to explore all the possible different options and so on. I imagine that this mechanic is going to be very popular with D&D fans and anyone really into sort of roleplay stuff. The fourth dilemma, as you can see, we're dealing with Cersei, and unfortunately we've only got 2 choices here as 2 others are locked. We can allow to leave some men in her service, meaning that we might lose some troops, or we can spend the night with Cersei's units, and that can also lead to some units getting killed. As my Spartans have been moving around and we've been pretty much busy trying to track down Cerberus, let them have some snoo, some of them die, well, some of them die. It is very curious, however, to see how far these choices actually go throughout the whole expedition. It's only a decent number of turns that have passed and you're already seeing all the effects. Here, thanks to what I deem to be a mistake, I ended up losing some units as, yeah, they took some damage. However, the whole unit was not destroyed, a buff was also acquired which was fairly powerful, and the units also gained some experience, meaning that they were able to now be in a higher chevron and will be able to have a better damage output when it comes to facing Cerberus. And now we reach the final dilemma, which unfortunately I only have access to one as we never acquired the giants, and we didn't really get the mysteries too. This means that the hero that was leading this army is going to have to stay in Hades after we're done doing our hunt. Like I said, there's loads of different options and it plays all the way through. It's actually a rather curious way as to how Creative Assembly are tackling dilemmas, and it looks like they had a lot of creative freedom here. It's very different and it's nice to see some roleplay aspects. But now with everything being said, we've spent a lot of time tracking down Cerberus. It's about time that we get into the battle itself and, well, defeat the beast. When you start your final battle versus one of the mythical creatures, you can send in any army you wish. Your expedition army will also arrive as reinforcements. Here I've got Menelaus with, well, a pretty decent stack for early game, but nothing too special. And of course the expedition force, which was decently leveled up through all the different dilemmas. So I've got a big force, and even then the whole balance of power does not look in my favor. We're going to be facing against Cerberus and quite a lot of shades, as we are aware, but we do have blessings of Zeus, which means that we do have access to Zeus's thunderbolts.
Your quest has brought you to the very gates of the underworld, gaining an audience with Hades himself. The path is clear to face the mighty Cerberus in battle, like Heracles before you, and gain its Hadean aid in the mortal realm. Such a feat would earn you a place among legend. Yet, beware. The dead will not take kindly to this intrusion. Indentured servants to the three-headed beast, the Shades will no doubt heed their master's call.
So this is the battle versus Cerberus, and where we're going to end the video. I am going to let the battle play through though, so you can see how exactly to defeat him. And how it works here is, if you can defeat Cerberus, then you'll be able to recruit him and use him in campaign with a host of new mechanics and so on. That will be shown in another video, possibly later today, as that kind of works in a different sense. We've spent all our time doing an expedition through this video, and now we're going to spend some time, of course, using Cerberus in our own forces and checking out all its special mechanics. Keep in mind that Cerberus's army here is mostly ghosts. Well, it's all ghosts barring himself, so you're dealing with an army which is quite resistant to normal type of fighting. You're going to have to do quite a lot of damage and try not to get slaughtered. This is why I said it's okay to take your time when it comes to the expedition. You don't exactly need to do it very early in your campaign. It very much depends on your playstyle and how competent you feel with the damage and the actual units that you have themselves. But this is everything relating to Cerberus in the form of the expedition itself. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion.
Of the wild. commanded. Certainly.
Duty and honor.
Fierce and proud. Smash them. Understood.
Menelaus! Courage! Prepare to send them! Hungry for glory! Prepared and ready!
Ready to defend.
Menelaus! Justice! Pour out! Menelaus! Attack! Withdraw!
The men are fleeing battle. Defeated blue. The men are fleeing battle.
Ready for action! In Ares' name! Kill them!
We stand unbroken.
Spears!
At once. Defeated blue. Crush them.
This is it!
The men are fleeing battle.
Battle awaits! You won't be missed!
No mercy. Slay them. Slayers ready.
On the move! For Sparta! Now you die!
But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel has been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.